Okay. Thanks for attending. I hope everyone's having a good summer and staying cool. We'll get started right away. Thank you all for attending. This is Gregg Towsley from Grow Plumbing, and today we are discussing why customer reviews are insanely important. Before we begin, a couple items about today's webinar. Everything will be recorded. We have a resource kit. We have some slides that we'll share with everyone, so there's no need to take notes. You'll get all of this information. So let's get right into it. I'm super excited about this topic on why and how controlling the conversation is the best thing that you can do for your business. So regarding these buzzwords like internet marketing and SEO and PPC and brand reputation management and Google Maps and first page rankings and keywords, I'm sure you hear this all day long. But customer reviews are number one. If you cultivate customer reviews, everything regarding those buzzwords and your marketing will fall into place. And we're here to show you that in today's webinar. So I'm not going to leave my camera on for the full time because I don't want to be too distracting. But let's get into what we're in for today over the next 35 minutes. We're going to cover why reviews are important, the impact of customer reviews, and then we'll get into some fun stuff like the tools and the resources and best practices and stuff like that. So here we go. So what comes to mind when you think of these words? Loyalty and trust, authenticity, consistency, or the opposite, disloyal, distrust, spam or scam. Your business has a choice. It's either brand heaven or brand reputation destruction. We have to provide some context and some background. So regarding your reputation, it can be tricky and also frustrating to calculate how much a good reputation is how much a good reputation is worth, or how much a bad reputation or a bad online review is costing your business. And that's why we're here to provide some information. But let's get into a couple of items here and spend a couple of minutes on people's buying decision. So as a business, you essentially need 3 pillars to be successful, to beat your competition, and to rise up in search results on search engines when people are looking for you. Your business needs leads and phone calls. This is obviously the lifeblood of all companies, not just plumbing and HVAC or other home services. Even if you're selling product on Amazon, you still need leads and phone calls. The second thing that your business needs is online credibility. So we'll get into this quite a bit, but if a potential customer or a prospect sniffs something that's not right, they'll move on to the next company. They'll move on to your competition. And then this affects your leads and phone calls. The third thing is really important, and that's what we categorize as communication. So how do you talk to your customer? How do you email them or how do you text them? Do you notify them before you're going to be showing up at their house? How do you present your proposals? Do you use a tool like Service Titan? Do you have an automated price book that you can just email them proposals? Do you ask for reviews? How do you ask for reviews? Do you provide valuable content from time to time? So that's the communication, and all 3 of these pillars work very, very closely together. So if we look a little bit more detail, you should be able to see my screen here. Look a little more detail about how people buy. Even in today's day and age in 2018, I don't have the data to support it, but I still think that people make buying decisions through their sphere of influence. And if you can see this here, it's their friends, it's your family, it's your coworker. I always say, need a guy, got a guy. So you can essentially ask your father, who's the best plumbing company, or who should I call for, the AC repair, whatever it might be. And that is essentially not going to change. People, I believe, will always buy through their sphere of influence. It's just how they go about that is what has changed. So throughout the years, going back 10 years, we've seen a big change from traditional media, which when you look at traditional media, those are the ones that are grayed out here. You think of radio and TV and yellow pages and billboards, into what we call new media, which is essentially the internet. So think of mobile devices. Think of these smart speakers that are in our home that you can talk to. Think of Instagram and YouTube. This is what's really driving business decisions. So as a business, you really don't have a choice but to get involved and to adopt to these new changing trends. Otherwise, you have the potential of going out of business, which is scary. So sticking with how people buy and understanding new media, the internet came along fairly quickly in the last 10 to 20 years, and Google was good at delivering results, but they're not the same results that we see today. And we'll get into a little bit of that. If you can remember, and going back, this is a picture of what Google used to look like, and it's changed quite a bit. But they used to have, for businesses, they used to have what's called the 7-pack. And it was very easy for your business to get listed in there because Google did it automatically. You didn't even have to have a website. All you needed to do was, register your business, or be in the yellow pages, or be someplace that they could find you. And then they would just automatically list you there. And then it was easy for people. You could just do a search, and Google would just spit back and kind of just puke all over the page and just give you the results, and then you can make a decision. So it was fairly easy for a business to generate free leads, and this is really all that you needed to understand from a local listing management standpoint. And again, this is back 5, 6, maybe 7, maybe 10, 15 years ago. But these are all the different players that Google would pull that business in from. You can see this, the super pages, the yellow pages, Info USA. These are all what we call big data aggregators. So if you as a business, quite a few years ago, all you needed to do is just get your business listed, potentially get some reviews, have some images, some videos, a website, maybe some inbound links, and you could do really, really well in terms of generating those leads and also that credibility. Google did it all for you. So just to touch from an SEO perspective, here are all the different activities that you can do as a business to get listed on Google. And you can see here, you do your keyword research and on-page optimization. So the white hat is all the things that the search engines like for you to do, and then the black hat are all the things that you that are discouraged from the search engines. And then if you go out here to the left, you see the low value. So submitting to a search engine is not very helpful, but yet on-page optimization is very helpful. And so back in the day, you could even set up PO boxes or use your employees' addresses and get multiple listing on the Google Maps. You could buy online reviews. You could do inbound linking and keyword stuffing. All that has changed quite a bit. And you'll notice in the next couple of slides, we'll get into mobile marketing. And just to point out here, back in 2015 was when there was a major shift, whereas mobile search results surpassed desktop search results. So just want you to keep that in mind as we move forward here. So this is a search result from a screenshot that I took yesterday, just for a keyword search for plumber in Los Angeles. And things are drastically different on Google nowadays. And I'll break it down a little bit just so we're on the same page and we have a platform moving forward. But here up at the top, this first box, you can see this is what we call Google Local Services ads. Launched about 3-4 years ago. We have a series of webinars. You can go into great detail on that. It's also called Google Guaranteed. You can see the reviews listed here, the quality of the reviews of the companies, the Google Guarantee, the mobile phone number, and that is a pay per lead. So that's not today's topic, but if you want, we have a ton of information on that. Reach out to me. I'll send you those webinars. So that's the first section that we see here. The second section is called pay per click. Those are the Google AdWords, and you pay per click. It's not a pay per lead like the Google Local Services. And you see a 3-pack. So you can see some consistency, 3, 3, 3. Then we get into the Google Maps. And rather than seeing that 7-pack, consistently, and I'm not going to say all the time, but consistently, we're seeing 3 companies listed here. So for somebody searching for, AC repair or air conditioning install, or plumber or hot water heater, there's only 3 companies that are being selected here. So we're going to get into how you can become one of those 3 companies. And the point I'm making here too is you can be listed up top here. You can be listed in pay-per-click ad. You can be listed here. And then as people scroll 2 or 3 times down the page, they're going to get into that organic listing. So you can see that Google is really occupying the majority of the space for business listings. And on mobile, it's a different experience, but you can see that you're going to have to scroll down before you even get to the map, and the Google guarantee is showing up first. So this is really important. And then the new landscape is what we call voice search. So Google has a Google Home speaker that is in the house. Soon our cars we're going to be able to talk to. Lots of time people are doing searches, especially the younger generation. I know my kids, they'll pull out the phone and just start talking to it and get any information that they need. They can order a pizza faster than myself. So that's really the new frontier is voice. And back to my point that I mentioned earlier is if you can cultivate customer reviews, that is essentially going to help everything else fall in place. And that will be your word of mouth sphere of influencing marketing. So let's take a look. This is the new map. So I mentioned some of the things before in the older search results 5, 6, 7 years ago. Now things have drastically changed. This is the map to success in the new media for the digital marketing. We can take a look at this, but I'll just point out a couple of things, and then you can always go back to the slide a little bit later on and review some of the different aspects here. But what Google and Yelp and Amazon and Facebook are looking at now, especially when it comes to the reviews that your business is generating, they're really looking to qualify that review and to understand more about that person who's writing the review. So some of the things that they're looking at is, where is the review coming from? So which device or desktop? What is the IP address of that review for your business? What is the location of that review? And the search engines and the review sites are getting really, really good at determining that and determining the authenticity of the review and validating whether it's real or not. They're also looking at who's the person writing the review. How many times has that person written reviews? What is the quality of that reviewer? So they're really getting into great detail on that. And it is kind of creepy, but Google tends to know everything. Is that review cut and pasted from other websites? What is the sentiment of that review? Are they using feeling words, or is it just highly generic? How many words? We've all seen the Yelp reviews, which are pretty much a diatribe going into great detail. So this factor is huge right here. Does the business owner or the marketing person view, read, and respond to their reviews? Do they respond to all reviews? Do they respond only to negative reviews? A best practice is to respond to all of your reviews, whether it's to be a thank you or whether if it's a negative review. We'll touch a little bit on that in a future slide. Does the business post regularly on social media? Are they on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram? So in other words, when Google is looking at your reviews and looking to populate their 3-pack with the most relevant businesses, these are all the things that they're looking at. Back in the day, it used to be just how many reviews did you have? And that was essentially determinant. And what we notice here, that it's not about how many reviews you have. It's about all these other factors. The list goes on, but do they, does the business have geographic-based pages on their website that link to their local reviews and their pages online? So, you can go into great depth on this. You probably can't, do everything, but you can prioritize based upon this map here, which is kind of a neat resource. Back to touch on how all of this, review, aggregation, and cultivation works together from an SEO standpoint. Again, the white hat up top, which are all the things that Google encourages you to do, and then the black hat here at the bottom. You can look at all these different activities that you can do, but the high value activities are the ones that I just mentioned, which are interacting with your reviews, posting your customer reviews on social media, following your customers on social media, interacting with them. Those are all the high value things, and those are what the search engines are looking for. And even the review sites, they're looking for those types of activities, because that is essentially the credibility that the businesses have. So let's touch a little bit upon tools and resources. I'm kind of preaching to the choir, but having the right tool for the right job is insanely helpful. I always use the analogy, yeah, you can build a house with a hammer and saw, but would you want to do that? Or do you want a power gun, electric saw, and all the other tools that go into it? So we strongly encourage you to use tools, but to find the right tool for the right job. So here you can see a list of 12 of the most popular online reputation and review generation tools. And each one of them kind of has their own little secret sauce. But I believe that you need to figure out what is most important to you and what is going to help you to adopt the right tool or work with the right tool. We can get into each one of some of the different features. So for instance, broadly, they have a messaging, which also does live chat and qualification of leads and visitors to your website, which then integrates into Service Titan. Just to touch on a couple, Nearby Now has the ability to check in, and it has updates to maps that you can integrate into your website, which is really cool. Chat Meter goes into great detail on the sentiment of your review and keeping track of where your reviews are and what the conversation is. Customer Lobby, they create a separate page for you, so it gives you another list within the search engine. So we can go into great detail. And if you want to contact me later, I'd be happy to understand what your current needs are, how your current process is, and recommend some tools and some resources. So you can go into great detail, but here's a list of 12 very, very powerful, very useful tools that can be used. So what are some of the top sites? Love them or hate them, they're a necessary evil. So dealing with Yelp and getting your reviews filtered, or not having reviews show up, or having to pay them. Google, working throughout their systems. Facebook is probably the most popular, but it doesn't really appear very high in search. But that's a good one for your site to link out to. But I would say, all in all, the goal as you interact with customers and cultivate reviews is to not choose one review site, but to scatter your reviews across many different sites. And we can touch a little bit more on that. Angie's List and Home Advisor, they're currently combining this year. Barry Diller bought both of those companies, and they're going to be doing a launch. The Better Business Bureau and Trustpilot, those are good ones to get your business listed on. Amazon's becoming a player. But all in all, I think if you need to pick one site and steer people in one direction, it would be your Google local business listing and aggregating as many reviews on those particular sites as you can. We'll touch a little bit upon best practices. And before we get into what's the best way to acquire reviews, let's touch a little bit upon negative reviews. And I've included 7 tips here on how to handle negative reviews and upset customers. 1, take a deep breath, stay calm, always respond. No response is going to hurt your listings. Embrace the opportunity. It's the opportunity for you to get better as a company and figure out what's going on and what happened, and then try to rectify that. Have standards. Like how does our company respond? Who responds? What can we say? What don't we want to say? After you build some standards, have someone review what your response is. Have them look at the grammar and the punctuation. It's always good to get a second set of eyes. And then after you're following these five steps, then ask the customer to change the review. I'm always surprised at how willing people are after you understand their situation and their point of view. They're willing to change that review. And then the last one is the best strategy is just get more positive reviews and bury the negative reviews. So what are the best ways to get reviews? I have a blog post and a PDF and an ebook that I'm going to be including in the resource kit, which is 21 ways to get online reviews, from the simple way to ask a customer to when you're doing a proposal. This might be against some terms and services, but it really works pretty well. If they write you a review, you can give them a discount. You can use the empathy one, whereas if you're a technician in the house and just saying, hey, my boss is really harping on me, you mind pulling out your phone and writing me a review? It'd be huge. So I'll include the 21 different ways. And as mentioned before, you really want to not have them all in one place, but have your reviews scattered across the internet. So from the slide here, and back to the original point of this webinar, is if you can communicate effectively with your customers online in all these various places, all of your other things that you worry about, like keyword research and SEO and pay-per-click, all of that will fall into place, and it'll help you generate more traffic to your website, more inbound leads, more phone calls, and it's really the best practice. So more content in more places will bring you more customers. And then having the perfect online credibility system is probably the number one thing that you can do. So there's just 4 simple areas that you want to be involved in to really win online. One is paid search, and that is the Google local services ads that I pointed out in a previous screen. And that is Google AdWords. That's strongly encouraged. Social media, which is sharing great content, interacting with your customers on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and Instagram, getting customer reviews, sharing those customer reviews. Social media is very impactful. I would say it's more impactful than doing most of the what we call search engine optimization. And if you're doing those two, they work hand in hand together. And then email marketing, which gets into the communication. And that's, how do you send proposals? How do you follow up? Do you thank your customers after you've done a job for them? Do you ask for reviews via email? So those are really your 4 pillars, and it goes back to that previous slide that I shared, which is generating leads and phone calls, building your online credibility, and then having proper communication, which is the winning strategy. And it all starts with making happy customers and getting them to write your reviews. So I'm here for any questions. Looks like there's a bunch of questions that have come in. So I'm going to shut off the recording right now and then answer a bunch of these questions, and we should be good to go. Thank you, everyone. And all my contact information is here. Reach out anytime, call me, text me, email me. We're here and we can help you with your reputation. Thanks.